The sixth letter to the church in Philadelphia begins in chapter 3, verse 7. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, He who is holy, who is true, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, and who shuts and no one opens, says this, I know your deeds. Behold, I have put before you an open door, which no one can shut, because you have a little power, and you've kept my word, and have not denied my name. To this church of Philadelphia, God tells them there's this open door that He has provided for them that they can step through. And even though they have just a little bit of power, a little bit of resources, they're not the major mover and shaker in these parts. They have kept the faith, and they've stepped through that open door. It's really interesting because when we know a little bit about the history of Philadelphia, we learn that it was founded by a guy by the name of Attalus Philadelphus II of Pergamum. And he established this city to literally be a gateway, a missionary portal to take not the Christian message, but the Hellenistic culture, the Greek culture, to the wider world. And so it was put in just the right spot on a major thoroughfare where those from Greece could carry that message out, and those who would be traveling through on commerce would be able to experience the Greek culture, which at the time was thought to be the best ever and needed to be disseminated around the world. And so the city was prosperous. It had a strategic placement, and it was a small city, but everything in there was of a good quality. It was very similar to Smyrna in its description, because this is the only other church that Jesus does not lay any blame toward. He only gives some good encouragement. He also expresses that they'll suffer persecution both from Jews and from Romans, but that they should stay strong, because the one who overcomes is going to receive great things in the end. So this city, that's very much like our second city, Smyrna, is poised to be a missionary center. And so it's very likely that what was meant to be a missionary center for Greek culture, God means to be used for a missionary center of the Christian faith. So He's set them in this perfect spot, and He's created an open door for them to reach the world. And He tells them then, as we continue reading, that the non-believing world is going to be brought before them. It's going to be brought right to their door, and they will bow down, and they'll understand that the people who worship God in this city have been loved by God and preserved by God. He continues that in verse 9. Behold, I'll cause those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. I will make them come and bow down at your feet, and make them know that I have loved you, because you've kept the word of my perseverance. I also will keep you from the hour of testing, that hour which is about to come upon the whole world, to test those who dwell on the earth. This is one of those areas where there seems to be some support for us not having to go through maybe the tribulation or some other persecution. But Jesus also elsewhere promises that we will go through persecution. So this could potentially mean that some will be taken out of those situations. It could also just mean that God plans to keep them through the persecution, that they will experience it, but that He'll keep them preserved, safe throughout it. Verse 11, He says, I'm coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, so that no one will take your crown. And he who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he'll not go out from it anymore. This is a symbolism of permanence. God says, I'm giving you this task. As you do it, when you're faithful in the little, I'll make you ruler over much. You'll have a permanent place in my body, in my temple. And I'll write on him the name of God, the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God, and my new name. They'll get an entirely new identity that's steeped in God Himself. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches.